when Isa alayhi salam comes to the scene, there is already an expectation that a prophet is going to come. That prophet is going to come. So in the time of Isa alayhi salam, we also have John the Baptist, who is known to us as Yahya alayhi salam. Now Yahya is baptizing people and he's preaching with authority. So the Jewish leaders who know their scriptures, they come to Yahya and they ask him, according to the Gospel of John in chapter 1, they ask Yahya, are you the Christ? He says no. They ask him, are you Elijah? He says no. They ask him, are you that prophet? And he says no. So that means the people were expecting three figures. They were expecting Elijah, who can come back at any time, because they had an idea that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not leave Elijah, the prophet, to die, but lifted him up. And they thought that any time Elijah will come back into the earth. So they're asking, are you this Elijah? They are expecting that the Messiah, the Christ, will come. Messiah means Christ. Al-Masih means, in Greek, the Christ. So they're asking him, are you the Masih? Are you the Christ? He says no. They ask him, are you that prophet? He says no. Now why do you ask a thing like that? Are you that prophet? It means there is a specific prophet that they're expecting, and they're asking him, are you that prophet? And he says no. Now Isa alayhi salam obviously was the Christ, and he came just shortly after Yahya alayhi salam. He was born 6 months later, according to the New Testament. So if he is the Christ, well then who is that prophet? Obviously one who was still to come.
Okay, David, go for it.
Well, there are about a million problems with this argument.
And we don't have time for it.
Yeah, first, just think, he's quoting John chapter 1, and the passage he's referring to is John chapter 1, verses 19 through 21. Very common Muslim passage to appeal to. And the general argument is the Jewish leaders came to John the Baptist, because John the Baptist is obviously someone special. And they say, are you the Christ? No, I'm not the Christ. Are you Elijah? No. Are you the prophet? No. Who are you then? I'm the one who sent ahead of the Messiah, right? So the entire argument is, well, since the Jewish leaders asked if you were this one, or that one, the Jews were obviously expecting three different individuals. And Shabir Ally points out, these were the people who really knew the scriptures.
Sure.
These
so
are the people who knew the scriptures.
And that prophet must be different people, according to Shabir.
Yeah. Now think about the various problems we have here. One, where is Shabir getting this quotation from?
The Bible.
Where at?
John 1.
John 1. Is that a good place for Muslims to be going to say this is what
But now
John
Muslims say that Jesus is not God. So
yeah, let me just give you a couple things from verse 1. I invite Muslims to read the entire thing. See, notice the difference between me and Shabir. He doesn't want you reading this stuff because then you'd realize how silly this is. I want you to read these verses because I want you to have a greater understanding. Even if you ultimately reject it, at least know what the passage is saying. John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came into being through him, and apart from him, nothing came into being that has come into being. You know who the Word is.
The Word is Jesus.
The Word is Jesus. This passage, John 1, same chapter Shabir is quoting, says that Jesus is God and that all things were created through him. How do we know? Well, we get down to verse 14. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we saw his glory as of the only begotten from the Father, full of grace and truth. Right? And this is where we have that passage that we referred to earlier. John testified about him and cried out, saying, this was he of whom I said, he who comes after me has a higher rank than I, for he existed before me. So this is where John says,
before.
Yeah.
But he's 6 months younger.
So John says Jesus existed before him, even though Jesus was younger than him. Why? Because Jesus is divine. Right? Verse 17 and 18. I'm going to read 17 and 18. Notice why? Because this is right before 19. These are the two verses before 19. For the law was given through Moses, grace and truth were realized through Jesus Christ. No one has seen God at any time, meaning God in all his glory. The only begotten God who is in the bosom of the Father, he has explained him. Does that line up with Islam? Is that good Islamic teaching? And the answer is no, it's not. Now we have 19 through 21. And if you want to know what's in the rest of the passage, verse 27, that's a passage we quoted earlier where John says, it is he who comes after me, the thong of whose sandals I'm not worthy to untie, talking about Jesus. Verse 29, The next day he saw Jesus coming to him and said, "Behold, the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world." Is Jesus the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world?
Sounds like it.
He is in this passage. He is in the same chapter that Shabir's quoting.
Yes.
"This is he on behalf of whom I said, after me comes a man who has a higher rank than I, for he existed before me," affirming again the deity of Christ.
Yes.
And in verse 34, John says, "I myself have seen and have testified that this is the Son of God." Is Jesus the Son of God according to Islam? It is according to this chapter that Shabir quoted.
Yeah.
And let me go to the end of the chapter after Jesus, he gets several followers and so on. Verse 49, Nathanael answered him, "Rabbi, you are the Son of God." Jesus the Son of God according to Islam? "You are the King of Israel." Jesus answered and said to him, "Because I said to you that I saw you under the fig tree, do you believe? You will see greater things than these." And he said to him, "Truly, truly, I say to you, you will see the heavens open and the angels of God ascending and descending on the Son of Man." Angels are ascending and descending on Jesus. Jesus is the ladder to heaven.
But he chooses this chapter in which to bring what he believes is inspired scripture.
So what do you have? You have the deity of Christ, right? Jesus created everything in this chapter.
Sonship
Jesus
of
is the
Christ.
Son of God in this chapter.
The Lamb of God.
He's
who
the
died
Lamb
on
of
the
God who
cross.
takes away the sin of the world. He's the ladder between earth and heaven. All of these things totally contrary to Islam. And Shabir Ally goes right in the middle of the chapter, takes a couple of verses out of context. He says, "You see, they're distinguishing between these three individuals. So it must be Muhammad."
The point is they didn't know. They didn't even know there was a fourth option. John the Baptist gives them a fourth option. They didn't even know it existed. But he's telling us that they're the ones that are the authorities. They don't know.
And here's what's absolutely essential. Did the Jews have correct expectations about the Messiah?
It was muddled. It was confused. They had some things right, but they were expecting other things, and they got it wrong.
If Shabir wants to say the Jews knew their scriptures and therefore they would have been right, then he has to conclude that Jesus was a false Messiah because Jesus didn't come and conquer the Romans like they expected, right?
And they have to believe that Jesus claimed to be God definitively, because that's what they accused him of and put him on the cross for.
And let's go on, and then we'll get to our last clip, and then we'll wrap it up. That one will only take a minute because it's so easy. If you want to watch the inconsistency. If you want to build your argument on Jewish expectation, Jews were expecting, let's grant it, and all we know is a particular group of Jews, right?
Right.
Jews were expecting three different individuals. Shabir said, aha, they know the scriptures, and they know that it was three separate people. Okay. Who did they come to? Did they come to an Arab? Because they expected an Arab prophet? No, they came to a Jew. What do you mean? People who understood Deuteronomy understood that it's from your brethren, that means your fellow Jews, and they came to a Jew to see if he was the prophet.
This took place in Mecca.
No, it didn't. He came to a Jew. They came to a Jew because they expected the prophet to be a Jew. So what can Shabir here say here? Well, when they expected the Messiah to come and conquer, they were wrong. But when they expected the prophet to be different from the Messiah, they were right. And when they expected the prophet to be Jewish, they were wrong.
Yes.
So it's just pick and choose which expectation was correct. Did any of these people expect an Arab prophet to come in Mecca 6 centuries later? No. So if you're basing your argument on Jewish expectation, Muhammad isn't the one. And if you don't want to base it on Jewish expectation, where did your argument go? Look at what chapter you're quoting. This is horrible.